Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Monica, oh my darling, is the movie I'm talking about in this episode. Is a new film, came out this year, just hit Netflix, an Indian film that is starring the same guy who was in a movie I reviewed during October, a comedy horror film called Stree. This movie is starring the lead actor of that, whose name is Rajkummar Rao. I will take a shot at pronouncing. Who that was a movie that I really enjoyed, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed this movie too. This is a comedy, not horror, comedy, crime, drama. Also has a bit of a mystery as well. And just had a lot of fun watching it. It definitely reminded me, kind of had Coen brother vibes to it. Kind of reminded me of Burn After Reading, which is a movie, I don't know, a lot of people don't like Burn After Reading. I happen to like it. It's kind of a movie where people kind of get in over their heads trying to uncover things, and the more they uncover, the deeper they dig themselves. Similar types of a thing. This movie, it is about these guys who get blackmailed by the same woman who says she's pregnant, right? Tells them all she's pregnant with their baby, and then blackmails all of them. And these guys decide to form a pact in order to kill her, because the idea is if they just keep along with the blackmailing, eventually they're going to run out of money. Eventually their significant others are going to find out that they are cheating on her, that they are paying this woman money. Eventually it's going to get out, and when that happens in the future, you will have wished you could go back in time before you lost everything and just get rid of this woman who's blackmailing you, right? So that's kind of the premise. And then as the plan unfolds, things go wrong. People don't end up dying. The true nature of who's behind everything seemingly gets unveiled, but as you unveil more truth, more questions come up. It also has, so the lead, Raj Kumar, is one of the three guys. Another aspect is this detective who's investigating the crimes, who is this fun female detective who just has all the confidence in the world and has effortlessly feels like she's going to uncover the truth, and very confident. And then all of these people work for this robotics company that's kind of family owned. So a lot of the members of the family are involved in the company, and some of those people are involved in this entire plot. So it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie that keeps you guessing, keeps you wondering what's going to happen next. I had a lot of fun watching it. It was a lot of fun, a fun mystery. Definitely feels super cheesy at the beginning, but once the plan unfolds, once these guys get together and they realize that what they're going to do, and they make a murder contract, a murder agreement, so they can back out, right? They put their thumbprints on and signed it to kind of guarantee that they wouldn't rat on the other guys. Once that ball gets rolling, the cheesiness and the corniness kind of fades away, and you're just kind of in the ride. I generally prefer to watch foreign films with the native language. I prefer to have subtitles on, but due to time constraints, especially recently, I have been using the dubbed version, which Netflix does have, the English dubbed version. Although I did have the subtitles on because some of their accents are a little thick, and I don't know. I just had and it's interesting to see that the English translation doesn't necessarily match up. Like, they reword things compared to the closed caption subtitles differ from the English actors, what they say. So that was kind of interesting, but it's pretty good. Not bad. Put on the probably added to the cheesiness, especially at the front. But I didn't mind having the dubbed version. It made it an easier process. Usually, because I'm a slow reader, usually if I were to watch a movie, an Indian film that is at the length of this movie, which most of them are, longer than this. This is 2 hours and 9 minutes. Most Indian films, 2+ hours, pretty common. It takes me an additional hour or two because I'm pausing. I'm a slow reader. It takes me a while, so I didn't feel like doing that and put on the dubbed, and it wasn't that bad. So you can watch it in either form. That is one thing that I love about Netflix, not only having access to all of these films from different regions around the world, but also they are good at least having subtitles, translated subtitles, and pretty regularly will have an English dubbed version versus a streaming service like Hulu, who has a bunch of Indian films that I would love to watch, but they don't even offer English subtitles. So I would have to learn Hindi or whatever language they happen to be speaking to even be able to watch the many movies they do have available, but just not translated. So I did appreciate that as far as Netflix and putting out good content.
Let's take a little break from the show to promote.
I figured out a way on my website to offer prints for every single painting. So if you go to a painting, you can buy the original painting or you can buy a print for everything. Artwork that you don't want to spend $100 plus on, 9x12-inch ink painting on paper, $100 for the original one-of-a-kind piece of artwork. Paintings range in price depending on their size. The 8x10 print, $20. Available in the store at inspireddisorder.com.
And now let's get back to the show.
To talk about this movie, I will have to be spoiling some aspects of it. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I would recommend checking out the movie. It is a great movie. I would recommend it if you like it's not a heist movie, but it has that kind of feeling to it. It's definitely a movie where people are trying to follow a plan and the plan falls apart, but in the plan falling apart, more questions keep popping up, right? It's almost kind of a whodunit as well, where by the end you're like, whose baby is that? Who's the one responsible for killing these people? How is, right? It's like there's a lot of questions come up. So I love that, right? Keeps you guessing, keeps changing. And even the way this movie ends is pretty ambiguous, which, it's a fun ending, but definitely you don't know if the person is going to live or not. It's a very interesting situation. So if you don't want to be spoiled, this is your warning, I should say. So like I did say, that 3 guys get together to murder this woman, Monica, who is telling them all she's pregnant, and they all get texts at the same time with her recommendations for stuff, and they have to pay her money to keep her quiet. And of course, these are people like our main character is somebody who just recently became part of the board of directors. So it's people that are kind of high up in this company. She herself is in the company high up. She's the assistant of one of the people high up, and it's so it's got that extra connection of not only are these people being blackmailed, but they're all also tied to each other through this company where all these bad things are happening, this unicorn robotics company. And our main character is kind of the guy who spearheaded these new robots that they're bringing to market or whatever. And then they make their plan, right? One of the guys is going to do the killing. One of them is going to do the transportation, and one of them is going to be the disposal. And immediately, when the guy, our main character, is in charge of transportation, immediately when he goes to the van and he opens the back of the van, and he sees the body wrapped up, immediately I'm like, he didn't check the body. Like, so immediately I'm thinking, okay, that's not the body. That is something else. That is someone else. Like, I do not buy, because they did not show that body is Monica. And he takes it. Then the other guy is freaked out. He can't do it by himself, begging for help. He's the accountant guy, right? And they help him. He helps him, barely gets back to his fiance at this like glamping cabin on a lake, right? A great plan, right? The whole plan, everything kind of, it works out. They figure it out, but then it turns out that body was the third guy, the guy who was supposed to kill Monica, right? Nishi, I think his name is. And then it's like, okay, you assume, as these characters do, that she killed him, right? That she found out, she was in some ways able to kill him. I mean, who else would do it? And then, of course, the next day, right, the news, oh, this guy's dead. They go into work, and of course, she shows up to work. So you find out she's not dead. And it's like, you saw it coming, but you're like, even though you see it coming, you still don't know what happened. So that big question is, what happened? Who killed him? Who's kind of doing this thing? For a lot of it, you're assuming it's her. Until later on, you kind of realize it's not her. Especially since she ends up, when she becomes the victim, it's like, one of the victims is like, okay. I mean, obviously we saw that one guy try and throw our main character off the roof, right? And then he somehow survives, right? Which surprised that guy too, who's like this employee who's invisible, whatever. But when you see her die, you're like, okay, this is even bigger. And even later on, when you find out whose baby it is, you realize how even bigger. Right? That's why it reminds me a lot of Burn After Reading, where it's like there's like levels above what's going on that are looking down on this chaos and going like, what is going on? Right? The levels above what these guys think is happening is just like so far away from the overall truth that's going on and the overall corruption and the overall things.
Let's take a little break from the show to promote
The benefits of Inspired Disorder Plus. So you go inspireddisorder.com/plus. Sign up, $5 a month. You get to binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free. You get to watch all of the live painting videos I do. You get a special members-only discount and deals for all of the artwork and merch that I sell. You also get the complete podcast back catalog of every podcast I've ever produced. Hundreds of episodes, countless different podcasts. You also get access to my personal blog. A new blog comes out every week. In addition to that, you get my creative writing that I'm releasing. You also get access to Asking Me Anything. 14 years of experience podcasting. I've been creating art my entire life. I've been using Photoshop since middle school. And you can contact me to ask me questions about that or anything else. So those are the benefits for signing up for Inspired Disorder Plus.
And now let's get back to the show.
And our main character's not likable, right? The way we're introduced is like this event where he's showing off these robots, and it's like this black tie event, and one of his friends gives him a watch, and he just like, yeah, whatever, and then he throws the watch in the trash can. Like, just, he's not a good guy. He's cheating on his fiance or his wife with this woman, right, that's blackmailing him. So he's like, none of the characters are really nice, good characters. Like, they're not good people. So you almost don't mind seeing them in this rat maze, right? Seeing them navigate this crazy situation. Which I guess, kind of it makes it more of a fun mystery, really. So she ends up dead. It's cool that they use snakes. Like the moment you realize, like, the guy gets what he thinks is chocolates, right? And the accountant ends up dead, and our main character gets that same thing. You can see the lid like popping off, and like ends up jumping out, and he's like face to face with the snake, and he's like frozen, and the snake just kind of loses interest. but using the snakes as a means to kill people, and then using the snake venom. I enjoyed that stuff. And then every time a truth is uncovered, it only just brings up more questions. Like, whose baby was it? Right? The investigator is going to do the blood test, and you just assume it's one of the three guys because that's what you're presented. For me, I was on the same wavelength as all these guys, right? Assuming it was Monica that killed Nishi, assuming that one of these guys is the father of the kid. But then, of course, every time you realize, you're like, oh, duh, that makes sense, right? So this movie does that really well, kind of the misdirection aspect of it. And then when you find out at the end, you kind of find out not only who the baby belongs to, but you also find out that, the investigator is kind of involved, right? Because at that level, at that kind of money, there's always going to be corruption. There's a reason why wealthy people always get away with crimes. Because there's always a level of corruption. Like, everybody has a price. Even a character like the investigator, who you have a lot of respect for. And then the way it ends, right? Because even after everything's okay. He's survived. But there's still that contract out that is still evidence of what he did, of what he was a part of. Right, so him trying to find this contract, and as soon as he does and he lights it on fire, those snakes that show up, where he's like surrounded by these snakes, and he's frozen again because he has the phobia of snakes. You just don't know if he survived, right? It doesn't really matter because he's not a good person, right? If he died in that instance, you're like, well, I guess he didn't get away scot-free. Right? He didn't, the fact that he participated in all these things, he's not the greatest guy. If the snakes took him out, it's like, okay. But also, if it didn't, it'd be like, well, that's kind of just how the world is, It's not really a just world. People don't always, karma doesn't necessarily work that way. But it's kind of an interesting end to it, an ambiguous end, where, it's been a while since I've seen a movie that has this ambiguous of an ending, but it's also an ambiguous ending where it doesn't really matter. Doesn't, one way or the other, whether he lives or dies, it doesn't really matter. He's everything else has been answered. He's not a great guy. It's like, whatever, But overall, I enjoyed the movie. So, I mean, if I spoiled it, whatever. I wanted to talk about some aspects of it that I enjoyed. I would recommend watching it. It is a lot of fun. It's on Netflix, which is great. A lot of great movies over there, Indian films. But check it out. Monica, oh my darling.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.